All right, everyone. Insane rookie move for me today. Got my kayak, got all the crabbing gear, but I forgot not one, but two key items that I'm gonna need for today. One, I forgot my camera. So, hard to film a video with no camera. I'm filming this part on my phone. Two, I forgot my kayak battery. So first, I'm gonna paddle out with the paddle, old school style, drop all of our crab stuff, and then I'm gonna come back, beach my kayak on land, and then go back home, get the camera and the kayak battery, and then come back here, and hopefully my crab pots will be full with crab by then. So, not an ideal situation, but we're gonna roll with it today and see if we can make it happen. There's everything you can see. Absolutely no motor. Just paddle power today. Gotta get those gains in. All right, that's where we're headed. All right, I think we made it out. We're in about 60, just under 65 feet of water. So if you watch my Thanksgiving crabbing special where I dropped some turkey out there, I actually still have some of that turkey, which we're gonna use for bait today. But I did most of my damage out in deeper water, like 65 feet of water-ish. So I'm actually gonna drop all three of my crab traps out here today and hope for the best. But just an update on the body. A little hot. We lost the jacket and got a few blisters on my hand. I don't know if you can see that or not. But I think it's good to paddle every once in a while. So anyways, it's hard for me to film and do everything at once because I'm just filming on my phone here by hand. But we'll get the crab traps baited up, get the buoys all set up, drop those down. I'll show you what I can of that. All right, first trap going down. Number two going down. And last but not least, number three going down. So now we have all three traps down. On the way out, I was actually averaging about 3 miles an hour going with the wind. I think going back, it'll probably be a little bit slower because I'm going against the wind. I'm guessing I'll be averaging about 2 miles an hour, plus whatever breaks I take in the middle, probably a couple. But anyways, yeah, that's not that much slower than how fast I'm normally going at full speed with the motor. So at full speed with the motor, with no wind, I go about 3.5 miles an hour. So I'm guessing with the wind this morning on the way out, I probably would have averaged about 4 miles an hour. Going back in, probably average about 3 miles an hour. But yeah, not too much slower, but definitely a lot harder, more work. But it's good for you. Good to get those arm muscles working. And luckily we're just crab fishing today. So even when I'm not doing anything, I should be catching crab. So we're gonna head home, let these pots marinate for a little bit, and then we'll come back and hopefully they'll be full of crab. You know, one thing I will say is it is good to paddle every once in a while. I mean, yeah, I joke around like I'm getting a workout today, but honestly, you bring the paddle with you every time you go out kayak fishing. And the reason you bring it, even if you have a pedal kayak or a motored kayak, you bring it because that's kind of like your lifeline. If the motor goes out or if your Mirage Drive breaks or something, you drop it in the water, the paddle is all you got. So if you happen to be fishing offshore, like a couple miles or something, you got to be able to paddle those last couple miles back to shore. And you never know, you could be paddling against the wind, you could be in a big swell. It's not necessarily going to be ideal conditions, especially if you're out on the ocean. So I do think that it's good to paddle every once in a while. I didn't choose to do it today, but I think it was good for me to get out here and paddle. I think I paddled a total of 3 miles. So it's good to know that, I'm physically able to paddle 3 miles if I need to. But yeah, I do think every once in a while it's good to just get out the paddle and make sure you're still able to do it. Because especially with the motor kayak, I'm hardly doing anything out here. And, could be stuck in a storm. Maybe I'm out salmon fishing. The motor goes out. I'm offshore a couple miles. I don't want that time to be the time when I'm testing if I can paddle a couple miles with no motor. So good to test it out here when I know conditions are good. There's other people out here kayaking that could help me out if I need to. And you always have your radio with you as well. So I guess that's probably your last lifeline. But if you can avoid it, you don't necessarily want to use that as your lifeline. On the road again, we made it back in about a little less than an hour actually. So pretty good time, I think. But man, I'm gassed. I'm happy that I'm gonna have a motor on the next run. Motor or battery, check. Camera, check. Let's try this again. Back on track now. We got the motor, we got the battery, got my cameras. This is how it's supposed to be at the beginning, but unfortunately, due to my own error, it wasn't. So anyways, we're motoring out to the traps now. Give my arms a rest because they're gonna need it, pulling those traps up from down deep. Hopefully they're full of crab, making it even harder to pull up. They've had plenty of time to soak. Hopefully those crab have found that turkey scent. Hopefully it's dispersed throughout that whole area and brought all the crabs to my 3 pots. But we're gonna find out here pretty soon. Just motoring out. 3.5. So actually I was only going half a mile slower when I was actually paddling the kayak, so not that much slower. We're gonna find out if all this going back to get my battery, going paddling out, paddling back in, getting my camera. We're about to find out if all that was worth it right now. All right guys, let me show you a little tip. So with these hoop nets, I've said before, you wanna try to get as close to on top of the hoop net as possible before pulling it up. It's hard to get the buoy on the camera, but basically it's sitting in the water like this, which means that the line is going off this way into the water. So if I pick up the buoy and then motor a little bit farther that way, usually it's gonna be into the wind unless the current is really strong. That's gonna allow me to kind of get a little bit more on top of it. And you can see how all of this loose line, I haven't even moved the crab pot at all yet. And now once I get through all that loose line, then I can go and start lifting this heavy pot. It feels like there's crab in here. Yeah, this is heavy. This is heavy. I don't know how many, but there's, oh man. I think this is gonna be a full net. Okay. Oh God. So my record, oh, hold on. Oh yeah, this thing's loaded. Big ones too. A lot of big ones. Holy smokes, look at this rock crab. All right, well, throw out the small ones first. Small. Look at this rock crab. Oh man. You really gotta watch out for the claws on those rock crab. That's a nice keeper. That's for sure a keeper. I think that one's too small. Yeah, small. Close. We'll measure it. Keeper. Measure it just to make sure. I don't know about that one. This one's definitely small. And then 2 big rock crabs. That's a nice rock crab. Look at this one. This might be my PB rock crab right there. That's a big one. Probably a 7-inch rock crab. So this is why we went through all that work. So if you're not familiar with Dungeness crab, it's one of the more tasty things you can catch, especially from a kayak on the west coast. So that's why we went through all the effort to do all the paddling and everything to get out here. But the minimum size, this is a crab gauge right here. You need this to go crabbing. Minimum size in California is 5 3/4, and we're measuring the top of the shell here, right inside those 2 top points. And this one's too small. This one has a lot of barnacles on it. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but this one's so close. Honestly, the barnacle on this one is making it big enough, but I don't know if that counts. I think we're supposed to measure just the carapace. You know what, we'll let this one go. Doesn't look like the most healthy of crabs. We'll let that one go. Small. Yep, small. That's a keeper barely. So that's right about as close as it gets. But it hits this notch right here, which denotes 5 3/4. So that's a keeper right there. Call it a clicker because it barely clicks the edge of the gauge. But that's a nice keeper male. So in California, you can keep males or females. as long as they're 5 3/4 inches. And this one is just barely, but it is a keeper nonetheless. And the limit on these per person per day is 10. So we have 4 keepers in here. I'll measure the rest of them, but I'm pretty sure this is the smallest of the ones we have left. There's a couple of nice ones like this one right here. That's a nice keeper. And this is probably the biggest one that came up in that pot. That's a nice one right there. See how big that one is. Yeah, that's one bigger than the gauge, so that's probably about 6 3/4, maybe 6.5 to 6 3/4. And then these 2 rock crab. So this isn't really what we're looking for. We prefer these for various reasons, but sometimes these come up in the pots too. And they're also very tasty, but I don't know if you can tell the difference there. The legs on the Dungeness are all pretty healthy sized. They all have good meat in them. The rock crab, these little support legs are pretty skimpy. So all the meat, or majority of the meat, is gonna be in those claws right there, which this one, pretty good. And then this might be one of the bigger rock crabs I've caught. That's a big one right there, big claws. Those claws right there are gonna have some nice meat in them, so we'll keep this one. All right, let me just measure them, make sure. Yeah, keeper. Perfect. So 4 keepers, Dungeness, and 2 keeper rock crab. Rock crab, I didn't mention that. Rock crab need to be 4 inches across. These are both like probably 6 or maybe even a little bit more. That one right there is probably like a 7.5. Let's just measure. 1, 2, yeah, 7. It's over 7. The gauge is 7 inches, and it's a little bigger than the gauge, so maybe 7 1/4 on that one. But anyways, 4 nice Dungeness keepers, which is pretty good for the first pot. For the first pull, we're gonna throw them in here, keep them alive and healthy, and then we'll move on to the next one. All right. Number 2. Get up all the slack. All right, let's go. Need an automatic crab pot puller for the kayak. I can run off my battery. That would be helpful. As long as I can remember the battery. Come on. Oh, jeez. Holy moly. A lot of crab. Look at the contents of that crab pot. I'd say that probably weighs, let's see, if they're weigh like on average maybe 1.5 pounds, and there's probably like 15. What is that? 20 something pounds plus the crab shell. It's probably 30 pounds right here, at least. That's a big one right there. That might be a 3-pounder. Definitely a keeper. Baby, I think that's a keeper. Little one. Little one. Too small. Oh, that's a keeper. Keeper. Small. Small. Maybe. When you think about crabbing, there's not really, or it seems like there's not much to it. You just drop a cage or a net, let it sit out there, and then go pick it up later. But there's just the little things that you can do to keep your operation efficient, and you'll find that if you do all those things and just keep everything moving correctly, keep improving on your technique, you'll start out fishing everyone else. Best tip is just to stay organized, keeping all your ropes together. Like right now, this rope, I'm not using it anymore today, but me putting this away nice and neatly is gonna really help me next time I go out to go crabbing. All right, time for the measuring. Why did I even keep this one? This one's for sure, yeah, small. This one looks like a keeper. Boom, keeper, 6-incher. Good to go, live another day. Oh, keeper. I think all these are keepers. So this one's a keeper, but I already have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, yeah, we already have a limit. This pot alone had 8 keepers in it, so don't need him. Look at this one right here. Yeah, that's a 7-incher. 7-incher. How about this one? Maybe this one's too small. Nope. 6-incher. So all these are keepers. Alright guys, big mola right here next to my third and final pot. Like I said, I already have limits. Here, we'll see if you can see it. There it is. There you can kind of see it. Those things get huge, like over I think 2,000 pounds or something, so that's just a little one. But yeah, like I said, we already got limits. Now I'm just kind of culling out the smaller ones. I even had one over the limit just in the first 2 pots, so I threw one back. That was a keeper in my last pot. Just didn't look good. It had like barnacles and stuff on it. Actually, I think I threw one back in both pots, so I could have had 12 keepers already, but threw 2 back that were on the smaller side and didn't look as good. Maybe they're missing a leg or 2. So now we're gonna pull up this third one and see what happens here. We're hoping for jumbos now. Okay. Yep, there's crab. Look at all those. Definitely some big ones in there. Look at all those crab right there. Can't even lift them all. Alright, well at least there was a payout for all that work. Small. Small. Also, it's the good news that there's all these small crab, because even though they're not good for this year, that means future years, like next year when we come back out here, there should be more keepers that are cycling through. It looks like it might be a keeper. This one, that might be a nice one. Probably call something, look at this one. That's a nice 7-incher right there. This is my bait bag. Can you guys see that? Somehow a rock crab got into the bag. All right. That's pretty much gonna wrap things up. I'm gonna call out the 3 smallest ones in here. And yeah, that's not that exciting. So I think we'll wrap up the video here. Been a good day. My arms are thoroughly exhausted. I got a nice workout in, and I got paid off with some nice healthy Dungeness crab. 10 keepers plus some. I think I caught 15 keepers in total. Already called out a couple. I gotta call out a few more before I head in. If you've never tried Dungeness crab, you can catch them all up and down the west coast, for everywhere from the Bay Area up to I think Alaska. You can get them up there. So if you live on the west coast, go out and get yourself some. If not, I'm pretty sure they sell at most seafood restaurants, you know, all across the country and probably even worldwide because it's so good. But anyways, fun day out here. I'm assuming I'm gonna be feeling it in the shoulders by tomorrow morning, so I'll probably rest up and do some editing tomorrow. No fishing for me. Thank you guys for watching another episode in this 12 days of Christmas. Today's species of choice obviously was Dungeness crab, but every day I'm pumping out another video with a different species that you can catch here in California. And thank you again for watching another episode in this little series that I got going here. 12 days, 12 different species, all caught in California, mostly from the kayak. I think I might have a few videos fishing from the shore too, but most of these are going to come from the kayak. Obviously, today, Dungeness crab. Tomorrow, I'm not sure what it's going to be. If you haven't seen the previous videos, you know, check them out, leave a link in the description. And obviously, you haven't seen the future videos because they're not posted yet. But if you stay tuned and check out the channel, those videos will all be coming public to all of you guys very, very soon. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for tomorrow. Who knows what we're going to get. See you on the next one.